In the NFC, it'll be the San Francisco 49ers hosting.
Culture Show.
And we welcome you live to Wings Etc. in Cape Girardeau for the Red Hawks Coaches Show. Red Hawks basketball coach Rick Ray is here. We will talk with star guard Alex Caldwell. He's going to be joining us in just a few minutes as well. We invite you to stop by and join us here at Wings Etc., where they have terrific specials all week, including on Mondays, their award-winning jumbo wings, just 79 cents. And if you're not in the mood for wings, they have a full menu, including their freshly made burgers, and they have a big burger selection here. They have wraps, subs, quesadillas, entree salads, smoked ribs, and much more. And their appetizer lineup includes their ultimate nachos, their deep-fried pickle spears, and their daily half-pound lunch specials. Half-pound lunch specials starting at just $7.99. Wings, etc., good food, great times, and we invite you to stop on out and join us. We'll be here not only in Cape today, but also next week. We will be in the Cape Girardeau location, so we invite you to join us. The Red Hawks head basketball coach Rick Ray is here, and This is a big day in college sports, not so much for basketball, but for football. We've got the national championship game, and apropos, I see on your Twitter feed, you've got some great pictures with Deacon and Mason and some of the Clemson people. You're a Clemson guy, and you talked a little bit about it last week, but to see the pictures and to see Dabo Swinney and Trevor Lawrence, the star quarterback for the Clemson Tigers, take the time to sit down or at least meet with Deacon and Mason, that had to be a thrill for those guys.
Yeah, I think maybe Deacon and Mason might have had the greatest 10-day stretch in sports history. But what they got an opportunity to do. Because of my travels in college basketball, I've been fortunate enough to be around some great people, and those people have obviously went on to different programs. And so basketball, when it's all said and done, is really a family. And so you got your former players and you got some of your former assistants and things like that. So what my wife did was she took a track and she just flew into Atlanta. And so the first thing she did was she went to watch a Kennesaw State game, because one of my former players and then my former GA at Mississippi State is now an assistant coach at Kennesaw State.
Okay.
So we've always been really close with him. And so then she went from there, she went to Clemson and then watched the basketball game there. Then they went and toured the facilities there with Coach Dabo, and then they got a chance to meet Trevor Lawrence. And the big kick on them, but they got a chance to touch his hair. And so they were really excited about touching Trevor Lawrence's hair, and then meet Travis Etienne. They got to go down the slide. They got to tour all the football facilities. Same thing with basketball. Got a chance to watch Clemson basketball game. They beat North Carolina State. Then they went from there to Auburn, where one of my former assistants is at. He's an assistant coach there, Wes Flanagan, who was a really good player at Auburn. So they went there.
So you know Bruce Pearl pretty well?
Yes,
Great.
I know him. And then they went to Tuskegee, where former assistant here, Benji Taylor, is now the head coach at Tuskegee. And then get a chance, obviously with that being a historically black college, get a chance to go around and see all the historical things there, and Booker T. Washington statue, and then get a chance to watch a game there. So then they come back, they got to go to school, got to do those things, and then we actually went to the Chiefs game last night.
Really?
So it's been a 10-day stretch there. Those guys just having an unbelievable sports time.
How are you going to top this? I mean, this is about as top of the mountain for those guys.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, it's a funny thing. It was a surprise for Deacon because his birthday is coming up in a couple days. And so we surprised him. And now the last thing I wanted to do was get in the car and drive to Kansas City and watch a game after what we did there. But, I was so upset after that game. But the bottom line was Deacon didn't lose that game. He didn't play. He didn't coach. Right. And so I didn't want to take it out against him. Then we had inclement weather that was really bad between St. Louis and Columbia. So the plan was to get all the way to Kansas City after the game, spend the night with my brother, and then also see my parents. But we had to stop in a hotel right outside of St. Louis near Winsville because the weather was so bad. And so it was fine. So we were driving there, and we told them that, hey, we're going to go watch the game, at my parents' house. And so they were psyched about that. But then as we keep going, we get into a situation where now we're getting Kansas City Chiefs traffic, and it said, hey, we got to go through this traffic in order to get there. And so then we started getting bundled up, and that's when we kind of put it on them that was going to this game. Now,
what kind of noises were there in the vehicle when you said we're going to the Chiefs game?
Oh, just so super excited. They had their Patrick Mahomes, jerseys on, and then they had the hats on. And then also they have a great first fan experience there in Kansas City for kids. But the biggest thing, we had great seats. We were right on the 40-yard line, row 6 there. But the craziest thing is now it gets 14-0, and my youngest one, Mason, is starting to cry. And then when it gets 24-0, he's uncontrollable. And so I have to take him up into the concourse and take him to the restroom and get him to calm down because he is done.
I was uncontrollable too. I sent out a message on Twitter and said, "This is just what is going on here?"
Yeah, I saw your tweet.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah. What? How you can't lay an egg in this big game, and they didn't.
Yeah, and so they come back there, and obviously now they are getting super excited. And me, at this point in time, I'm already upset about our loss.